Wolverines leading in decisions 39-25 over Ohio State. It used to be that Woody Hayes, now 59 years old, in the worst weather, late in the season or not, whether it was snow, ice in the field or anything, he always wore just a short-sleeved shirt. He has bowed to the elements in the advancing years in the last couple of seasons, and he is now attired in that scarlet windbreaker down there, and I'm sure he's probably got warm clothes on underneath. Brian Conway will be doing the kicking off, as Ohio State will be defending the goal to our right. That's the south goal at the open horseshoe here. And deep for Michigan will be Hazelrig, Heater, with Heater back deep. Over at the far side is Harry Banks, a junior from Cleveland. Here's Conway's run up. Here's the boot. A high, deep end-over-end kick taken at the goal line by Heater. Heater up to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and he is bumped out of bounds at the far side of the field. Brought down by one of the members of that kicking team for Ohio State, and it's going to be 1st and 10 at about the 22-yard line for Michigan. They'll often play their linebackers back off the line of scrimmage, but they are not doing that now. High formation for Michigan with Franklin, the quarterback, and he has Shuttlesworth right behind him. He hands off to Shuttlesworth on a quick opener over the left side. He picks up no more than a yard or two. Starting tackle Shad Williams brings him down along with Randy Gradishar, one of the leading defenders for Ohio State. Gradishar has been in on 54 tackles this year, even though he was injured for a while. And he has Hazelrig split to the left side with an I formation behind Franklin. Long count, he drops back, rolls to the right on the option play, looks, fires a pass. It is complete to Rather at the 38-yard line. He was wide open, got in front of that defender, sent him deep, and then came back and took that perfectly thrown pass by Franklin to make it 1st and 10. Neil Colsey, cornerback, coming up to make the stop, but not until he had gained 13 yards, and it's 1st and 10. So Michigan taking to the air. Coming in is Larry Gustafson, and going out at the wingback spot is Clint Hazelrig. Seal is a tight end in tight on the left side, an I formation again. Shuttlesworth in the backfield, directly behind Franklin. He drops back. He's going to pass again. He looks now. Everybody's covered. He's going to run. He's to the line of scrimmage to the 40, the 45, and he is hit by Gradishar and dragged down by him, but he still sprawls forward across the 45, and finally Mike Scannell, defensive end, a senior, 6'2", 212, makes the final stop.
Vince, this is where this youngster has improved terrifically all year. We saw him at his best last week against Purdue, where he would spread the defense, attempt to pass, and when his men are covered in the secondary, he quickly reacts very quickly and runs that football.
Rather out, John Daniels in, split to the right side, I formation again. It is 2nd down and only 1. Franklin turns, gives to Shuttlesworth, the big fullback, starts to the left side, wants to read it back to the middle. He came very, very near to being stopped shy of the 1st down, but reading it back to his right side, gave him the yardage he needed. He advances the ball to the 49-yard line. Gradishar in that stop, along with George Hazenall. Ohio State bringing some 6 men up in that line of scrimmage instead of having their linebackers dropping back as they've been doing most of the time. Franklin the option. Fakes, wants to turn the corner at the left side, can't do it. Good stop by the defensive end, Van DeCree, a sophomore from Warren, Ohio. Contained him perfectly. He picked up perhaps a couple of yards in the play. Flanker or slot man to the right. 2 men in the backfield behind Franklin with the tight end on the right side. Power formation strong to the right. Franklin rolling to the right side, gets a block from Shuttlesworth, fires a pass in a crowd. Gustafson makes a catch at the 40. Great catch as he went up between 2 of the Ohio State defenders, including Parsons and Jeff Davis. The tackle made instantly, but it's enough for a 1st and 10, and Michigan's now is 2 for 2 in the air. That pass was good for 9 yards, and they picked up 22 yards in the air so far. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Shuttlesworth and Heater directly behind the quarterback, Dennis Franklin. 1st and 10. Mix up on the count that time, but the give goes to Shuttlesworth, who powers straight ahead. Got good blocking up front for Michigan, and he advances the ball to about the 35-yard line. They bring it back and spot it, actually on the 37. He was stopped that time by Arnold Jones, a linebacker, a sophomore, very quick, hard-hitting. Jones, 5'11", 224. Making that defense get wide with 2 men to the far side of the field. Franklin gives it this time to Heater, hit behind the line of scrimmage. controls his body beautifully, retains his balance, and slants to the outside to about the 31-yard line before he is stopped by Shad Williams and Rick Middleton, who is the number 1 tackler in this Ohio State team. Middleton, 6'3", 217, a junior, a linebacker. 72 tackles coming into this game for the season. Power I formation, both ends in tight. They're going after that short yardage. And a legal procedure as Franklin made a move. I think the mistake was probably on the part of the center, Bill Hart, who did not snap the ball because Franklin dropped his foot back, anticipating the snap from center, and when he did that, his fullback Shuttlesworth started to the right side. So it's an illegal procedure penalty of 5 yards, and that one is the first mistake of the game. Makes it now 3rd and 7. Sends rather wide to the open side, the right side of the field, and he has Hazelrig as a flanker to the left side. Ohio State man got across the line of scrimmage, got back in time, and Franklin is buried. As the blitz is put on, and Arnold Jones came crashing through, along with Mike Scannell, and he is buried way back at the 47 or 48-yard line. That stops that Michigan drive. The illegal procedure penalty when they had a 3rd and short yardage set them back to 3rd and 7, and they blitzed on him, anticipating the pass, and now one of the fine punters in the conference, Barry Dotzauer, comes in to punt, and he's a good kicker. Bashnagel is the deep man standing on the 10-yard line of Ohio. This kick slightly into the wind. Here it is, and it's a wobbly one off to the left side, and Bashnagel picks it up, and he is hit by Bo Rather and brought down immediately. Excellent coverage by Rather. So Ohio State gets it 1st and 10 at the Buckeyes' 13-yard line. No score. That was only a 33-yard punt, but little or no return. So Michigan, which had marched 47 yards, finally had to give up the ball, and now wide man to the left side for Ohio State. Their first chance to run the ball, and the give is to Griffin. The freshman trying to go over the right side is hit at the line of scrimmage and driven back by linebacker Craig Mutch. Junior from Detroit is the number 2 tackler on this Michigan ball club with 81 tackles so far this year. He can hit hard, 6'1", 203 pounds. Going in is Mike Bartozik at an end spot. Slot man to the left and a wide receiver to the left side, and the give goes to the running back, Archie Griffin again, this time on a slant over the left side against that tough Michigan defense. Griffin advances it across the 15 to the 16-yard line. This time, Tom Key from Wheaton, Illinois. Freddie Grambo in on that stop. And Spearman. All right, slot man to the left side with a wide receiver to the left, and the give again on a running play to the right side. It goes this time to the fullback, Harold Hinson, a sophomore. He advances the ball out to about the 20-yard line, and it's going to be 4th down and 4. Ohio State will have to punt. And they have a double safety now. Dave Brown, the safety man, is back there. The snap, here's the boot, and a very high, beautiful spiral. It is taken by Brown at his 40. He is tripped up on excellent coverage. Balls forward to the 45-yard line, and making that tackle was Jim Kriegel, a junior from Toledo. Good coverage, a 40-yard kick and only a 5-yard return, and both kicking teams have been tough. High formation, Shuttlesworth, Heater, Hazelrig in that backfield behind Franklin. Franklin wheels, and he hands off to the number 2 man in that high formation. That's Heater, the tailback, cracks straight ahead over his own left guard, and he's up to about the 48-yard line. Shad Williams making the stop. Excellent average. That time he picked up only 2 yards. Now wing back to the right side. And they go into a throw set. Fakes the handoff, drops back, fires a sideline pass to the left side, and it's broken up to the intended receiver. Was Bo Rather, but staying right with him like a plaster was Jeff Davis, the defensive back on that short side for Michigan or for Ohio State. And it's going to be 3rd down and 8. And the wide receiver to the right side, that's Johnny Daniels, and Hazelrig is flanked to the left side. Franklin drops straight back. He looks. He fires a pass. It is caught, I believe. A diving catch by Hazelrig, who went down that left sideline, turned and came back, and he dove for the ball and made an excellent catch right off the carpet. A 13-yard gain, and once more Michigan comes through with a pass on a 3rd down situation. They have now picked up their second first down by passing. They have one by rushing, and they have advanced the ball to the Buckeyes' 40-yard line. 6:59 left to play, no score. Daniels comes out wide to the right side. Shuttlesworth and Heater in the backfield behind Franklin. They're running from an I formation. Franklin with a pitch to Heater. Has Shuttlesworth trying to block for him, but he is hit from the backside by Randy Gradishar, the linebacker, who came up behind him. And Gradishar, a big junior from Champion, 238-pounder, spilled him at the 39-yard line to make it 2nd down and 9. A gain of only 1. No score. Hazelrig, the wingback from Cincinnati, Ohio, comes back in now. And Hazelrig as a slot man to the left side. I formation again. Tight end on the left, and to give to Shuttlesworth. The big fullback tries to hammer straight ahead, and he goes nowhere. Picked up perhaps a yard or two. Arnold Jones in on the tackle for Ohio State, along with linebacker Rick Middleton. It is 3rd down and 7. Now they shift into a pro set in the backfield. Franklin dropping straight back. Looks. He's going to put it in the air. He does. Gets his man at the 35. Tries to stiff arm one tackler. Runs laterally and is spilled and sprawls forward to about the 31. Jeff Davis making the stop on the big tight end, Paul Seal. 6'6", 213, and that is the 15th pass that Seal has caught this year. 3 of them for touchdowns. He is Michigan's leading receiver. It is 4th down and a yard. All right, formation. Dennis Franklin quarterbacking. He turns, gives to Shuttlesworth. Nope, he keeps the ball on a beautiful fake. Goes to the outside, and he's got 1st down yardage. A great fake to Shuttlesworth. And then Rather sliding off to the left side, driving forward and getting the 1st down before Neil Colsey can make the stop on him.
Vince, what a great fake, as you described it, because he brought in that right linebacker of Ohio State to go after Shuttlesworth, and Franklin kept the ball, just making the 1st down. Michigan's 5th in this 1st quarter.
They have been moving the ball well against this Ohio State defense. No score. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining to play in the opening quarter before a sellout crowd. RI formation again. Ends are in tight. Franklin gives to Shuttlesworth. He was stopped momentarily at the line of scrimmage by Arnold Jones, slid off of that tackle, and finally it was Plank who made the stop on Shuttlesworth, but not until he had gotten down to the 26-yard line of Ohio State. A pickup of 3 at 2nd down and 7. The tight end on the left side is Paul Seal. All right. Here's a counter play giving to Hazelrig. He had faked, sending one back into the line on the right side. Then Hazelrig on the counter play back to the left side kind of lost his footing on that artificial turf, and he lost a yard back to the 27 to make it 3rd and 8. He sends John Daniels wide to the right side, and has Hazelrig to the left side. He's going to pass. He drops back. He fires to the left. It is incomplete and almost intercepted by Jeff Davis. Ball intended for Hazelrig, who lost his footing out there on that tartan turf. Incomplete forward pass, 4th down and 8 at the 27-yard line. And Mike Lantry, the field goal kicker, comes in for Michigan. He is the fellow who booted one from 31 yards, or 30 yards last week to win the ball game with 1 minute to play. Gradishar was shaken up for Ohio State in the last play. Here's the snap. Here's the kick by Lantry, and it is no good. Very, very poor kick, as a matter of fact. And Ohio State again has blunted a Michigan drive. While the Wolverines have moved the ball well, they have failed to score. And with 2:57 left to play in the 1st quarter, it's still Ohio State nothing, Michigan nothing. With Greg Hare, Griffin, Bledsoe in the backfield for Ohio State. And the give goes to the fullback Henson, the number 1 man of that eye, and he cracks over his own right guard and tackle out to about the 24 or 23-yard line, where he is brought down by Craig Mutch and Tom Key, the 2 fine linebackers for Michigan. A gain of 4 that time by Bledsoe on his 2nd carry of the afternoon. Archie Griffin had carried twice earlier. Slot man to the left side. High formation. Hare gives the pitch out to Archie Griffin. Bledsoe tries to make a block for him, and he can't do it. It was broken up beautifully
by Logan.
By
what a
Randy
play.
Logan.
Ohio State, Vince, would like to put the football in the air, but thus far in this 1st quarter, they have not had good field position. So it's been Michigan's defense that has been containing the running game thus far of Ohio State.
3rd down and 8 for Ohio State. And a fake by Hare. He moves over left side, and Hare is out to the 30-yard line, or very near it. and it may be 1st and 10. He had to get to the 30. He may be just inches shy of it as a stop was made by the outside linebacker, Tom Key, the number 1 tackler on Michigan's team this year. The nose of the football is about 6 inches shy of the 30. It is going to be 4th down, and they're going to punt. Here's Lego getting one away from his own 21. A very high kick, fair catch called for by Dave Brown. He is hit as he made the catch, and that's going to be a walk-off against Ohio State. Brett Buckeyes was the fellow who hit Dave Brown, and he had obviously signaled for a fair catch.
Vince, I think Paget was confused by Zaccarelli and by Brown. Zaccarelli looked as if he was going to make the catch, but Brown, signaling a fair catch all the way, moved in front of him. And consequently, this enabled the defensive man, Paget, to hit Brown, and consequently a 15-yard penalty.
Rather split to the left side, an I formation behind Dennis Franklin. On the keeper, steps back, goes through a big hole, and he's across the 45. Slipped and lost his footing. Fell down at the 41 or 41.5-yard line. Rich Parsons coming up to make the stop on him, and a fine keeper by Franklin.
Well, he was quick off of the snap of that football, and actually Ohio State center was not ready.
Gustafson to the left side, and Rather split to the left side, but Thornblad, the fullback, behind him is... And the give goes to number 44, Chuck Heater, and a big opening for the right side, and Heater explodes before he is brought down by Van de Cree. All the way down to the Ohio State 23-yard line. Great block that time by Jim Cood, tackle, and by Tommy Coyle from Chicago's Brother Rice. A 19-yard burst by Heater. Power I formation now, but the end's in tight for Michigan. Franklin turns, gives to Thornblad. Trying to block for him, a center Bill Hart. He moved his man about a yard or so, but Randy Gradishar came in and made the stop on Thornblad, who advances the ball down to the 20-yard line of Ohio State. And there's the end of the first quarter. It's Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing.
Michigan dominated the first period with possession of football. Ohio State had the football only for 6 plays, and they had to punt twice. Michigan is doing all their yard gainage, of course, between 30. So a break could open up this football game for Ohio State. Ohio State has yet to have possession of the football in Wolverine territory.
And Ohio State with about 7 or 8 men on the line of scrimmage. They fake give to Thornblad, a pitch out down to Heater. Heater tries to turn the right corner, and he runs out of running room as he gets across the 20. Picked up about 2 yards, was driven out of bounds by a cornerback, Don Plank, a sophomore 194-pounder with good quickness, good speed. So it's going to be 3rd down and 5. 3rd and 5. WGN Radio, Chicago. Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreaux reporting our Big Ten game of the week. Franklin on a quick count. Steps back, rolls to the left side, fires a pass intended for Mo. Rather, he could not hold on to it. He was down inside the 10. Good defensive move by Neil Colsey, who was right with him. And now, Michigan has put the ball in the air 7 times. Completed 4 out of those 7. All right, they're going to try another field goal. This will come from the 25. It has to carry 35 yards. Here is the boot. It is deep enough, it's high enough, it's straight enough. And Michigan is on the board leading on Mike Lamprey's field goal, 35-yarder. Michigan 3, Ohio State nothing. They've teed the ball up just inside the hash mark on this west side of the field. And Archie Griffin, the fine freshman runner, is the deepest man for Ohio State. Here's the boot by Lamprey. It goes into the end zone, and it's picked up there and fumbled by Bashnagel. He falls on it in the end zone. 3 or 4 Michigan men around there. They swarm around him, and of course, had they not recovered that one themselves, that would have been serious trouble for Ohio State. They bring it out to the 20, however. Randy Keith, fullback in there for Ohio State now. Henson is out of the ball game for them. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Ohio State in the first quarter. The ball. Carried the ball only 6 times. They had it twice, and they had to punt twice. Wing back to left side, a fake give. Hare on a keeper to the right side. He gets a block to the 30. The 35 is still out of bounds in front of Coach Woody Hayes on this west side of the field, and there's the longest gain so far by Ohio State. Let me tell you, Tom Key was really upset. He was ready to do battle physically with somebody down here on this Ohio State side after that 19-yard gain.
I think Woody Hayes got hit harder than the runner, Vince, as Hayes come out of that crowd yelling at Tommy Key. Brown saved the day when he came over behind Key to push the carrier out of bounds.
Archie Griffin appears to have been hurt, and Elmer Lippert, Jr., is in the backfield now for Ohio State. High formation with a wingback to the left side. Hare turns, and he gives to Lippert, the number 2 man of the eye. He is tripped up at the line of scrimmage, but still manages to fall forward to about his own 43 or 44-yard line before he's brought down by cornerback Roy Burks, a sophomore from Midland. A gain of 3 by Elmer Lippert. Flanker wide to the left and a slot man to the left, and the give this time to Randy Keith, the fullback. Cracking off his own left tackle, picks up no more than about a yard. He's up to the 44, maybe the 45-yard line. We'll see where they put it down. It is just inches shy of the 45. Steve Strinko and Greg Ellis in the stop for Michigan. Strinko, a sophomore. He fakes. Hare keeps. Now finally pitches to the wingback coming around, Galbos, and Galbos is out to the 40-yard line before he is spilled by Tommy Key. Now let's see where they position this football, because it is very, very near to a first down. Ball over on this west side of the field. The chain gang is over on the opposite side, and they may bring it all the way across for a measurement.
And Michigan State leads Northwestern 21-7 in the second period.
The measurement just in front of the Ohio State bench shows that the Buckeyes missed. The measurement just in front of the Ohio State bench shows that the Buckeyes missed that first down by perhaps 3 inches. No more than that.
Now Woody Hayes has a decision to make, whether to punt or go for it. Earlier in the first period, Bo Schembechler, where the same situation, gave his team the okay to go for the first down, and Franklin made it.
He has brought Harold Henson back in as a fullback in the backfield now. He turns, gives to Henson. Cracks over right side, and while he was hit at the line of scrimmage by Steve Strinko, Henson, a big, powerful runner, had his momentum with him, and he drove across the 50-yard line to pick up the necessary yardage. It is 1st and 10. And Henson comes limping off the field. Replacing him now will be Elmer Lippert. Wing back and a flanker to the left side. And the give to Lippert, number 2 man of the eye. He is hit at the 49-yard line of Michigan. Tried to drive forward, and finally he lost his momentum, and he was driven back, but his forward progress carried Lippert out to the Michigan 47-yard line. The score is Michigan 3, Ohio State nothing. We are in the second quarter, 12 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in this period. Randy Keith, the fullback. The give goes to Griffin, driving behind Keith's block, and he can go nowhere over the left side. Also, it pulled the guard out, Jim Kriegel, trying to clear a path for him, and he's a big guy, 6'2", 234. But Dave Gallagher, not quite as big, but a tough defensive man, makes the stop. Gallagher, 6'4", 225. Dropping back. Hare wants to pass. He hits Ted Powell right over the middle for a short gain, and Powell, running laterally, is brought down at the 40-yard line. That's the first pass completion of the day by Ohio State, with big Ted Powell taking the catch. A flag has been dropped, however, and it's going to be an illegal procedure penalty against Ohio State that will nullify the pass to Ted Powell. While they had a 3rd down and 7, they're now going to have a 3rd and 12, rather than being very, very close to first down yardage. Well, let's see whether the gamble works. Here, drops back. He looks. Now he's going to run. He had a field in front of him. He fired the pass into the crowd, and it is incomplete. He had a man down. It was Ted Powell at the 30-yard line of Michigan. Again, there's a flag on the play. That pass was incomplete as that Michigan defense really bunched around Powell. I thought for a moment that Hare would run, because he seemed to have that far sideline open, at least down to about the 45 or 40-yard line, but he elected to pass, and it's incomplete. Dave Brown back in single safety. Michigan not putting a rush on. Here's Legos, very high, beautiful spiral, and Dave Brown finds it sailing over his head, It is going to roll dead at about the 5-yard line of Michigan. A great kick by Gary Lego. Beautiful high punt into the wind. And it is down at the 6-yard line of Michigan. The Wolverines lead 3-0. Timeout has been taken. Could be rather wide to the right side as Michigan, deep in its own territory, has possession of the football. They have a 3-point lead. And the give goes to the number 1 back, Bob Thornblad, who was brought down by a very fine defensive player for the Buckeyes, George Hazenall, one of the co-captains, a senior from Garfield Heights. 6'1", 262. Mr. Hazenall should be an excellent pro prospect. Short gain of 2 yards. It's 2nd down and 8 yards. 2nd and 8. Franklin the quarterback, and he has Thornblad directly behind him in that I formation. He fakes the give. He's got the option play. He elects to keep the ball, shakes loose from a tackler at the 10, and he drives forward to the 14-yard line. Brought down by Van Decree from Warren, Ohio, a sophomore. He had Chuck Heater behind him and might have pitched out to him, but it looked to me like the defense, Lou, was really masked and ready for Heater had he tried to give the ball to him.
He continues to hold on to that football.
3rd and 2. Short yardage. Tight ends in there. And the left guard jumps offside for Michigan. Mike Hoban from Chicago's Gordon Tech was off the ball by a half count too early. Thornblad, the fullback, and Heater directly behind him. Franklin, the quarterback, gets the snap. He gives to Heater. Heater cracks through an opening on the left side and almost had himself daylight. And it was brought down on a very fine tackle by Shad Williams, a 238-pound senior tackle. Short of 1st down yardage. And that's going to force Michigan's Barry Dotzauer to punt for the first time today, with Brian Bashnagel back deep. Ohio State figures to get the ball in excellent field position. Here's Dotzauer's kick, a low driving one, picked up at the 48-yard line of Michigan by Bashnagel. Runs to the right side, and he is brought down on a very fine tackle at the 45. That was a 37-yard kick and a 3-yard return. Chuck Heater, very, very fast, a sophomore, in there for the tackle. So the score stays, Michigan 3, Ohio State nothing. When play resumes, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. Galbos is in there. Randy Keith is in at the fullback. Here's Hare on a pitch this time to Griffin. Griffin sweeping the left side, and he's down about the 40-yard line. Galbos threw a very fine block for him. And Mr. Griffin, who's surprised a lot of opponents earlier in the season. He's a freshman from here in Columbus. For just a moment, looked like he might go all the way. Greg Ellis made the stop on him. They have not officially thrown a pass. The one they did throw was wiped out because of a penalty. Wide receiver to the right side and a slot man to the right to give to Randy Keith, the fullback, over his own right guard and tackle. Finds some running room there as he is down to about the 31-yard line before being brought down by linebacker Craig Munch, including Galbos, a wingback. He has Randy Keith and Griffin behind Hare. The give goes to Keith, cracks over the left side, and he's got some more daylight. Fine blocking up front here. Jim Kriegel, one of the men, opening a hole. And Merv Teague, the big left tackle. Advances the ball down to the 27-yard line. It's 3rd down and 1. And with 3rd and 1, they go into that power T formation, full house, Steve. Both ends in tight. They give to Keith on the left side, a flag on the play. Keith cracked through that line of scrimmage for 1st down yardage, but it may be wiped out. No, it is not going to be wiped out. Michigan jumped offside. Somebody on the left side defensively came across that line of scrimmage and made contact. And it's 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. A sustained drive going. Wide receivers to the right side. There the quarterback turns. He gives to Griffin on a slant to the right side. He's in daylight. He's to the 10. He's to the 5. And Griffin, exploding behind the block of Randy Keith, puts the ball down to the 4-yard line. John Hicks also helping to lead the way, along with Chuck Boddick on the right side. That Boddick at 256 pounds. And there was an 18-yard burst by Archie Griffin. And the Buckeyes are threatening to take the lead. Harold Henson now comes into as a fullback, replacing Randy Keith. 1st and goal for Ohio State. Michigan leading 3-0, and that lead is being severely threatened right now. Again, full house tee. The give goes to Harold Henson. The big fella cracks over his own right tackle, tries to hurdle over that line of scrimmage, or vault over it, I should say. But he is met by 2 or 3 of the Michigan men, including Randy Logan. And he puts the ball down to about the 3-yard line. Also into that stop, in addition to Logan, was Freddie Grambo. 3 yards away from a touchdown for Ohio State. Again, the full house, T formation. Hare turns, gives to Henson, hits the same hole. Twists away from one man, and he's down to about the 1-yard line. Dave Brown, the safety man, struggling, trying to bring big Harold Henson down. Henson has already scored 19 touchdowns this year. The rest of the team has only 16. He has established a new Ohio State scoring record already. They're up to the line of scrimmage. Goal line defense, of course, by Michigan. The give goes to Henson, right side, and he is in there. Touchdown for Ohio State. Framers and tissue paper through the air, confetti filling the air as the Buckeye fans go wild. With 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining to play in the first half, Ohio State, who showed no offense at all in the first quarter, have driven for a touchdown. Blair Conway will come in and attempt the point after. He is hit on 22 out of 31. Here's the snap. Dashnagel puts it down. Conway puts it through the uprights, and the score here in Columbus, Buckeye 7 and Michigan 3. We have 4 minutes, 30 seconds left to play in the first half. Heater is over to the far side, and Henry Banks over to the near side. A very deep kick carries into the end zone. He started to run it out, changed his mind, and he came very, very near to stepping out of the end zone into the playing area, as there was a moment of indecision there by Chuck Heater. Couldn't make up his mind whether to run it out or not. Finally, he saw a lot of those red shirts coming downfield, and he made a wise choice. The power I formation. 2 men over to cover, rather. Franklin with a pitch to Hazelrake, trying to turn right in. Cuts in, he's hit from the side. Drives across the 20-yard line to about the 24. Brought down by Randy Gradishar and Van de Cree. Sorry, the 29-yard line, not the 24. With Thornblad, the fullback, behind Franklin. Behind him is Heater and Hazelrake to the right side. He fakes the give, drops back, wants to pass. He does. It is complete. Down to the 47-yard line to Paul Seal, the tight end, who is down to the 40 and finally driven out by Neil Colsey. And a great fake that time by Dennis Franklin to his running back. And he stopped that Ohio State defense, froze them in their tracks, and he hit Paul Seal, who was wide open, for a 25-yard gain, and it's 1st and 10 at the Ohio State 36-yard line.
They used that cross buck earlier, but he faked giving the handoff to Hazelrake and fired that pass to Seal. Great play.
Rather split to the left side now, the open side of the field. Franklin on a pitch. Hazelrake trying to turn the corner of the right side. Squirms through a maze of men to the 30. And he finally is dropped down by Rich Parsons, the safety man. Cuyahoga Falls, the sophomore. 5'11", 188. They put the ball down to the 29-yard line. Good gain in the play. And it's going to be 2nd down and a long 3. And a power I formation. Thornblad, Heater. Now Gustafson is in that backfield. And the fake, nope, the give goes to the first man, Thornblad. He faked me out of that time. And Thornblad, driving straight ahead, gets the first down to the 25-yard line of Ohio State. Arnold Jones, sophomore linebacker, making the stop on Bob Thornblad. 9 first downs for Michigan in the first half, but the Wolverines are trailing 7-3. Thornblad and Heater lined up behind Franklin. To the left of them is Hazelrake. Franklin turns, gives the cross buck to Hazelrake. He spins away from one would-be tackler, spinning to the outside, the far side of the field. That spin gave him perhaps a couple of yards. Otherwise, he would have been stopped for no gain at all. Mike Scannell in the stop along with Arnold Jones for Ohio State. So he picks up about 2.5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and a long 7 or a short 8. Lined up alongside of Thornblad, and behind Thornblad is Heater. Franklin fakes to Gustafson, steps back, wants to pass. He's going to be buried. He is. Great defense that time by Ohio State, led by co-captain George Hazenall. and Mike Scannell. And there was no place for Franklin to go with the football and no place to run.
Vince, when you say that Ohio State had 2 men on rather, that's exactly what they did that time, giving their charging linemen an opportunity to sack Franklin.
Clint Hazelrake comes into the backfield for Michigan, and he is replacing Larry Gussis. Minute and about 13 seconds left to play in the half. Franklin drops back, wants to pass, gets some time, fires, hits his man at the 11-yard line. It's Hazelrake, who is brought down immediately by Jeff Davis. But that is good for a 1st and 10. 14-yard pass. And the 10th first down in the first half by the Michigan Wolverines. The clock is still running. Michigan has still not used a timeout, and we now have 59 seconds, and it is ticking away. The cornerback lined up, ready to go in that direction. Franklin turns, he gives, big hole in the right side. Bursting through it is Chuck Heater, and Heater inside the 5, is all the way down to the Ohio State 1-yard line. Parsons making the stop, and now Michigan calls timeout with 33 seconds showing on the clock. And the score, Ohio State 7, Michigan 3, but Michigan, as they bring that chain gang operation, is only going to be a yard or so away from a touchdown. They're in tight, power I formation. Thornblatt in the backfield. Heater behind him. Up front, alongside of Thornblatt is Hazelrake. He fakes, he pitches out. And no running room as Heater is driven out of bounds at about the 3.5-yard line by Doug Plank, the cornerback. He tried to go to the short side of the field. Mike Scannell, the defensive end over there, helping to make the stop on him. And Franklin winds up with Michigan losing about a yard on that play. They stop the clock again with a timeout, and there are 28 seconds remaining to play in the half. Both ends are in tight, and there are 6-7 men up in that line of scrimmage for the Ohio State Buckeyes. The pitch goes. He tries to turn the corner, slips and falls. Heater trying to cut very sharply to the inside, lost his footing, and he is stopped at about the 2-yard line by Mike Scannell. It is going to be 3rd down and goal to go from just inside the 2-yard line, and timeout has been taken again by Michigan. 1.5 yards away. And they're massed at that line of scrimmage. All right, Michigan up to the line of scrimmage with both ends in tight. Franklin gives to Thornblatt, the fullback. Cracks to the right side. Did he make it? It is going to be very, very close to a touchdown. It appears that he is just inches shy of it as Pete Gusick was about a man in the tackle for Ohio State. They stopped him. And a fumble. Yep. If there was a fumble, Michigan recovered it. And the football, the nose of it is a foot away from the goal line. Michigan calls its last timeout of the first half. And now it is 4th down and perhaps a foot to go. 4th and a foot for a touchdown. Franklin might try it himself. This is going to be their last play of the first half offensively. He's got him at the line of scrimmage. Franklin waits. He fumbles! Falls on the ball. Ohio State takes over. Franklin could not handle the snap from center. All they could do was fall on the football, and Ohio State, with 7 seconds leading, or 7 seconds on the clock in the first half, will carry a 7-3 lead into the last half of this football game in the battle for the Big Ten championship and a berth in the Rose Bowl, and at the least a very high national ranking collegiately. What a play.
Yes, this, of course, should give Ohio State quite a momentum during this halftime, Vince, for Woody Hayes and the entire crew to talk about that, to think about that play, and come out in the second half. Bo Schembechler and his coaching staff will have to do quite a talking job at halftime to the Wolverines.
With 7 seconds left, all Hare's going to do is fall on the ball. He gets a snap. He does fall on it. The clock is running. And that will be the end of the first half with the score before this jam-packed capacity crowd with some snow flurries in the air. The score at halftime, the Buckeyes of Ohio State 7, the Wolverines of the University of Michigan 3. Here's Vince Lloyd. Mike Lantry. Here's Vince Lloyd. Mike Lantry has the ball teed up on this west side of the field at the 40. Archie Griffin, the deepest man for Ohio State, flanked by Holy Cross and by Lippert. And here is the boot. It is taken at the 1-yard line by Baschnagel. And Baschnagel up to the 15, the 20, and is spilled near the 20-yard line. Craig Much and Tommy Key, two linebackers for Michigan, in on the stop. They put it across the 20 to the 22. We see Randy Keith is in there at fullback. And coming in at the one end spot is Dave Hazel, who has played sparingly this year. Greg Hare still the quarterback. Galbo's out as a slot man to the left with Keith, the fullback, number one man in the I formation. And an offside as the flag goes down. There was a movement across the far side of the field. The ball going to Griffin, the number two man in the I, moving to the outside. Offside is called against Michigan. And I believe that they will take the 5-yard walk-off. That's the fourth penalty assessed against the Wolverines for a total of 20 yards. Ohio State, 2 penalties for 20 yards in the first half. With Randy Keith and Griffin, running backs directly behind quarterback to give to Griffin. He vaults over the right side, and Griffin is out to about the 29 or 30-yard line. It'll be second down and about 2 or 3 yards to go. The stop made that time by Don Coleman, the defensive end, a junior from Toledo, Ohio, for Michigan. Here comes Dave Hazel back in. Tight end is in on the right side, and that tight end is Fred Puckage. Hare turns, he gives to Griffin, cuts back into the middle, and Griffin gets first and 10 as he's out to about the 33 or 34-yard line, stopped by Dave Gallagher, defensive tackle, 6'4", 235. He had 10 tackles last week against Purdue. Again, Coach Woody Hayes is alternating Dave Hazel and Fred Puckage in the slot to the left side. Hare turns, gives to Griffin. Griffin trying the right side, tripped up almost at the line of scrimmage. Falls forward to about the 35-yard line of Ohio State. And it'll be second down and about 8 yards to go. Freddie Grambo and Craig Much in the stop that time for Michigan. Michigan Wolverines flank to the left side. He brings Galbos in as a wingback on the left side this time, rather than in the slot. Hare turns, he fakes the give, keeps, gets away from a tackler at the 35 to the 40, 45, 50, 45, doubles, and finally is brought down at about the 30-yard line on a tackle from behind by Roy Burks and Barry Dotsauer. He broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage. He broke another one at the midfield stripe, and he almost broke that one all the way for a touchdown. A 35-yard gallop, and a very fine decision by Greg Hare to keep it. First and 10 at the Michigan 30-yard line. Bartozik split to the left side. Galbos the wingback on the left side. Greg Hare has that crowd quiet down. Turns, he wheels, gives to Griffin. Up the middle he goes. Daylight. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Ohio State with R.C. Griffin exploding through the right side. Drops 30 yards for a touchdown. With a key tackle thrown by right tackle Johnny Hicks and the right guard Chuck Bonica. It is the first time this year that Michigan has allowed 2 touchdowns in a football game. And they now are trailing 13 to 3 with Mike Landry to try for the point after. Holding will be Maschnagel. Here's a snap. Here's the boot. It is perfect. And with 12:32 left in the third quarter, Ohio State 14, Michigan 3. This is WGN Radio, Chicago. We'll be back in a moment after this message. I had credited Mike Landry with the point after touchdown, and let's take that away from him and give it to Mr. Conway of Ohio State. That was a 78-yard scoring drive, and it took only 6 plays. Here is the boot. It is taken this time by Peter at the 2-yard line, up to the 10, breaks to the left side, to the 20, to the 25, racing down the sideline to the 35, and he's across the 40 before driven out of bounds into the Ohio State bench. Driven out by Jeff Davis, and he very, very nearly broke it all the way. That's Chuck Heater, the sophomore, tailback from Warren, Ohio. And a great kickoff return. Michigan with excellent field position now, but they are trailing in this football game by 11 points. Ball put down just outside the 42. We'll call it the 43-yard line. Or rather out to the right side along with Hazel Riggs for Michigan. High formation. Dennis Franklin quarterbacking. Thornblatt in there at the fullback spot. And directly behind him, Dieter, the give goes to the fullback. Thornblatt cracks over the right side to the 45-yard line. Pete Cusick making the tackle. Along with help, Grad Shad. In the Big Ten, this one decides who represents the Big Ten Conference in the Rose Bowl and who will be the champion of the Big Ten. Ohio State passing up front. Here's a pass thrown. It is complete. Down to the 45-yard line to Chuck Heater, and Jeff Davis coming up and making a solid tackle. But a good release that time by Dennis Franklin, and a very fine catch by Chuck Heater, the tailback. Going that power I formation. He turns, he pitches to Hazelrig, tries to crack to the left side, across the 45 to about the 43 before he runs into a wall of red shirts led by Rick Middleton, linebacker. A short gain of the play, down to, let's see where they're going to put the ball. Ross Dean, the official, wiping it off and placing it between the 42 and 43-yard line. Flanker wide to the right side, and a split end to the right side. A fake give to Thornblatt. Franklin on a keeper. Cuts inside as he swept around to the right side of that line of scrimmage. Broke down to about the 37-yard line, maybe the 36. He's still going to be shy of first down yardage by about a yard. Arnold Jones, linebacker, and George Hazenall, co-captain and defensive tackle, making the stop on Franklin. Power I formation again. Shuttlesworth obviously has been hurt again. Thornblatt replacing the give to Thornblatt. Cracks over the right side, and he tremendous force that drives a couple of Ohio State men back. And he gets the first down yardage as he advances the ball down to the 33-yard line. It was Hazenall again in on the stop for the Ohio State Buckeyes. 1st and 10 for the Michigan Wolverines. Dinner Bill Hart brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Wide receivers to the left side this time. And the give goes to the number 2 man. Heater breaks loose from a tackle at the line of scrimmage. Spins out of the arms of one man, and he's down inside the 25-yard line before being brought down by the safety man, Rich Parsons. Great running by Chuck Heater.
Second effort, Vince, enabled Heater to pick up 9 yards on that because he was stopped at the line of scrimmage. But he just wheeled, turned, and great second effort made up a few yards, and that was a big play.
We are in the third quarter. 9 minutes and 15 seconds remaining to play in this quarter. Going out is Hazelrig, and coming in is Larry Gustafson for Michigan in the backfield. Bull Rather comes out wide to the left side. That's the open side of the field. Power I formation again. Here's Dennis Franklin waiting for the snap from center. Quarterback gets it, he turns, and he gives to Thornblatt. The big fullback finds an opening through that right side, and he's down to about the 15-yard line before Hazenall again comes in to make the stop with an assist from Parsons. That was a 9-yard carry by Thornblatt.
And you would think that Franklin would go to the air, Vince, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Gustafson is out. Hazelrig is back in there in the backfield now. An I formation. And the give to the number 2 man of the I. Hazelrig, he cracks over right tackle, spins, and he's down to about the 10-yard line. Heater, I'm sorry, is in there. Grad Shad up with the tackle this time for Ohio State. And that Buckeye defense now finds itself trying to stop this Wolverine drive with the ball at just outside the 10-yard line. 2nd down and 5. Thornblatt and Heater, the running back. Franklin on the option. Throws to the left side. Cuts in between 2 men, and he's down to the 5-yard line. A tremendous run by Franklin. On the option, he kept it. And he's got himself 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. It was Doug Plank, the cornerback, who finally brought him down. He ran right between 2 of the Buckeyes. 1st and goal. Again, those big tackles come in there now. 4 of them again. Hazenall, Cusick, Beecroft, and Williams. And Hazelrig to the right side with Franklin lining up behind him in the I formation. Thornblatt and Heater. Franklin gets that snap, drops back, rolls to the right side, and he is dropped for a loss at the 7-yard line. Double blocking that time by Thornblatt and Heater on one defensive end. There was nobody, however, to take out the defensive tackle, Pete Cusick. He penetrated and threw him for a loss back to the 7-yard line.
Great pursuit by those big tackles in their defensively for Ohio State. They moved well laterally because Franklin had 2 men in front of him for interference, but they broke it up.
Now Davis comes in, and one of those big tackles, Pete Cusick, goes out. And Beecroft has come on. They've got another linebacker in there, rather wide to the left side, trying to split that Ohio State defense a bit. They've got 3 linebackers just off the line of scrimmage. 4 men up on the line. Roll out to the left side, rather. Throws a pass. Thornblad heads it at the 2-yard line. Is hit and driven back to the 5, but his forward progress carries him down to about the 2. Neil Colsey, defensive back, making the driving stop. Now, let's see where they'll position that football. It should be down to about the 2-yard line. And Thornblad was shaken up by that tackle. The big fullback going out, Shuttlesworth, who has been limping and has played sparingly today, comes in. Are in tight, and Dennis Franklin asked the officials to quiet down the crowd so that his teammates can hear his signal call. Power I formation. Franklin on the pitch to Hazelrake, trying to move the left side. Vaults over a couple of men. He is just inches away from a touchdown. He just missed it, I believe, by a couple of inches, and a great diving attempt by Hazelrake. He had one fine block thrown by Greg Denboer. Shuttlesworth, the fullback. But the defensive stop made by Randy Gradishar and Shad Williams for Ohio State. And it's 4th down and inches away from a touchdown. The score with 5 minutes and 5 seconds remaining on the clock right now in the 3rd quarter. Ohio State 14 and Michigan 3. 4th down, inches away from a touchdown. Ohio State with about 8 men up at that line of scrimmage. Franklin gives. Shuttlesworth is in there. Touchdown easily. Great blocking through that right side. 57-yard drive by the Michigan Wolverines. It took them 14 plays to do it, and they're right back in this football game.
That was a big score, Vince. They actually had to have that score to get back into the football game, and Shuttlesworth ran that football like we've seen Shuttlesworth run before his injury. Went right through, driving 2 men into that end zone. It's now Ohio State 14, Michigan 9. Michigan will attempt the either extra point or extra points, and now Michigan has taken a timeout, their first of this half. Of course, coaches, I see over there huddling as to whether to go for 2 or to go for the 1, and that is the reason for the timeout.
Dennis Franklin, barking that signal, steps back. He rolls to the right side. He fires a pass. It is complete to Hazelrake, and they get the 2-point conversion. The gamble pays off for the Michigan Wolverines. Dennis Franklin rolling to the right side. It was a pass all the way, and he suddenly spotted Hazelrake open in the end zone. He hit him with a midsection pass, and with 4:48 left to play in the 3rd quarter, Ohio State 14 and Michigan 11. All right, here's the kickoff by Latry. It is taken by Ashnagle at about the 7-yard line, and he tries to advance that ball forward. He does, but not too far. Pretty fair run back by Bashnagel, not across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. Lynn Harden, a sophomore from Detroit, on the kicking team for the Wolverines, making a sure stop. 1st and 10 for Ohio State. Clock shows 4 minutes and 43 seconds remaining to play. It is raining. We had snow flurries earlier. Archie Griffin in that backfield, along with Randy Keith, and they have a wing back to the left side. Hare pitches to the short side. Griffin, trying to find some running room, is up to about the 25-yard line and buried there by Roy Burks and Tom Key. A pickup of about 4 yards by Archie Griffin, the freshman running back. Great speed. The Buckeyes come up from the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 6. Hare turns, and he gives again to Griffin, and he is hit right at the line of scrimmage, and a great stop that time by Steve Strinko, who's in there as a linebacker. No way they could move him out. Also, and in the tackle, Greg Ellis, the middle guard. No gain, 3rd down. Back to the left side. Greg Hare has not gone to the air today. He gives to Griffin again. He finds an opening in that line of scrimmage, reads the play beautifully to the right side, gets across the 30 to about the 31, and Dick Finn, our Ohio State spotter, says that he missed it, the 1st down, by perhaps a foot. Tom Key and Freddie Gramble in on a very, very big play for the Michigan Wolverines. Dropped 1 dead at the 6-yard line, and eventually that led to an Ohio State touchdown. Here's his boot. This one is not so deep. It carries down to the 35-yard line. It is caught there, and a flag thrown as Michigan's Dave Brown is hit and driven back by 2 men, and Ohio State is furious. I did not see a fair catch call. That does not mean that Dave Brown didn't signal for a fair catch. But the official right there apparently thought that Brown did. And two of the Buckeyes barreled into him, and that is going to be the second such walk-off against Ohio State. On the first one, there was a very obvious call for a fair catch.
Dave Brown must have quickly signaled for a fair catch because the official was right behind the fence, and it was a low punt. And as he caught it, of course, he was hit by a charging Buckeye. This is a very, very bad mistake for the Buckeyes as it puts the ball on the 49-yard line of Michigan.
Two wide receivers to the right side. Shuttlesworth is in at fullback. Right behind him is Heater. Franklin gives to Shuttlesworth. The big fella goes barreling through that right side, and he is in Ohio State territory to the Buckeyes' 45-yard line, Mike Scannell. Defensive end making the stop along with Randy Gradishar, who will be back for Ohio State next year. Gradishar Jr., 6'3", 238. And a very fine defensive player. Picked up 5 on that one. Second down and 5. Franklin gives again to Shuttlesworth, this time on a slant over his own right tackle. He will go nowhere. Picks up perhaps a yard with Hazenall and Arnold. Arnold Jones, that is, in on the stop this time. So it's third down and about 3 yards to go for the Michigan Wolverines. Ohio State leading 14-11. We have about a minute and 35 seconds now remaining in this third period. And a light rain is falling. Hazelrig comes out to the left side and rather to the right side for Michigan as they try to spread that Ohio State defense. Franklin rolls to the right. He gets to end at the 35-yard line. It is Paul Seal, the tight end, who barrels down to about the 30, and it's first and 10. Neil Colby from Coral Gables, Florida, making the stop, and Dennis Franklin has done an excellent job passing. That one was good for 15 yards to Seal. This half now he is 2 for 3, so give him 8 for 12 for the day. A minute remaining to play in the half, and the give goes to Chuck Heater, the tailback, number 2 man of the eye. He gets just about to the line of scrimmage, and that's all, where he's met by Arnold Jones. So we'll call it second down and 10. Michigan needing 3 points to tie it. Touchdown, of course, would give the unbeaten, untied Wolverines the lead in this football game. And time is just about run out now in the third period. And he has Hazelrig split to the right side, about 3 yards. That's the short side of the field. Franklin rolls to the left side, gives to Heater and a cutback, and Heater down across the 25, squirms for another yard, where Arnold Jones, a linebacker, puts a good stop on him. But he worked that one for all that he possibly could, all that you could ask of him. Moves the ball to the 24-yard line, and they have about 5 more yards to go now for a first down. It's third and 5. And a big play coming up here. Coming in is Harry Banks, but that is the end of the third quarter here in Columbus, Ohio. And the score remains the Buckeyes of Ohio State 14, Wolverines of the University of Michigan 11. It's Franklin, the quarterback, who's done an excellent job with these Wolverines. A sophomore, 6'1", 185. He's a good rusher, good passer, and today he has had a very fine day throwing that football. He has been intercepted only twice this year. And this afternoon he has completed 8 out of 12 passes. Hazelrig is in there, and he sends him and rather wide to the left side, with Shuttlesworth lined up behind him, and behind him is Harry Banks. Drops back, rolls to the left side, going to keep it. Finds opening, down to the 20, hit hard, down at the 19-yard line. Franklin taking a pretty good shot that time from Rich Parsons. Came over quickly, but he got very, very near to first down. He had to get 5 yards, and it looks like he just barely missed it. Good rusher. Bring the ball in to the hash mark on the east side of the field here at Columbus. They are moving to our right down to the south goal. That's the open end of this big horseshoe. This fourth down and about a foot or so to go. Let's see what they try from the power. He gets to Shuttlesworth, and he is hit just as he got the handoff for a loss, and that stops the drive. Arnold Jones came crashing through, and what a big play. Rick Middleton also in there. Number 32, and Gradishar. Tremendous penetration for the Buckeyes. It stops the drive at the 21-yard line of Ohio State.
They just pointed for one man, Vince, in that backfield. That was Shuttlesworth. And they stopped him just as Franklin handed the ball to him.
So the Michigan defense comes in, and the Ohio State offense down to the field. Greg Hare Quarterbacking all the way, as has Dennis Franklin for Michigan. The give goes to Archie Griffin, and the freshman running back is nailed right at the 20-yard line. He was trying a slant off his own right tackle, and if anything, Griffin that time lost about a half a yard. Shuttlesworth going over for a Michigan touchdown on a long drive of 57 yards. Rolled out by Hare. He fires the pass. It is intercepted by Randy Logan. The pass intended for Dick Galbos, and Randy Logan making the interception right in front of the Ohio State bench on the nearest side of the field. And Logan was shaken up on that interception. That for Randy is his fourth interception this year for Michigan, and that, I believe, gives him the team leadership in interceptions, and he came up with a big one. But if they lose this man, senior, outstanding cornerback, if they lose him with an injury, it's going to hurt that Michigan. Michigan lining up now, and here's the keeper by Dennis Franklin. Franklin rolling even to that line of scrimmage, sees a little bit of daylight, cuts down, and he's down to about the 25 or 26-yard line. Rich Parsons making the stop on him. Randy Logan appeared to have his left arm or left shoulder injured on that key interception. Second down and 7. Hazelrig goes into a wing back to the left side, and they have the right end split. And the option keeper keeps it. Oh, he gives this time to Heater, and Heater trying to turn the corner to the outside, and the far side of the field will pick up perhaps a yard or two down to about the 25. Doug Plank, the cornerback, in the stop, along with Rich Parsons, the safety.
Now keep in mind, Vince, if Michigan can advance that ball a little closer to that goal line, Bo may go for the 3-point and tie at 14-11 with 12 minutes and 20 seconds left in the final period.
He kicked one field goal to 35 yards, his fifth of the year and his longest of the season. Franklin drops back on 3rd and 5, fires a pass over the middle. Looks like it is complete. Rick Middleton making the stop on the fullback at Shuttlesworth. And that is only the second pass that Shuttlesworth has caught. Can't be Shuttlesworth, is it? Let me look again. Oh, 83, I'm sorry. Paul Seal.
Banks deep and Shuttlesworth close, and Dennis Franklin hands off to Banks. He's down to 20, down to 15, down to the 10, the 9-yard line. Harry Banks electrifies this crowd of some 4,200 Michigan fans, and 82,000 stunned, bewildered Buckeyes couldn't believe that our second-string tailback could swivel hip his way in and out of the hands of would-be tacklers all the way down to the scarlet and gray 9-yard line. That's where the ball is right now. It'll be second down and 1. Michigan in the white jerseys. They're out of the huddle. Up over the ball comes Billy Hart. The line follows wide. To the right comes Bo Rather. And at the slot is Hazelrig. It's Banks deep and Shuttlesworth close at the 9-yard line. They need 1. And there's Easy Ed down to the 5, and he has a first down at the 4.5-yard line. 14 Ohio State, 11 Michigan. Go ahead, Richard. It's all yours.
Well, we've been down here before, Bob. This is a tough 5 yards. They're down in the trenches and that never land. I think that Banks run electrocuted the crowd, Bob, not electrified them.
Attaboy. Call it anything you want to. The score is Michigan 11, Ohio State 14. Here they come, the maize and blue. Wide slot is Hazelrig. It's Banks deep and Shuttlesworth close. And Dennis Franklin under center at quarterback. He hands off to Easy Ed. No, he keeps it. He pitches off to Banks. Banks is hit at the 4 to the 3-yard line. He got to the 3-yard line. It was second down and 5. He's right at the 3-yard line now. And it'll be third down here. Second down check. It was first and 5. Those scoreboards move that down marker before a man gets the ball. It's second down now and 4 to go. It was Colsey who made the tackle. And the Wolverines now have the ball down on the 4-yard line. And an Ohio State man was shaken up. And while they're administering first aid to the Scarlet, toward the open end of the stadium here at Ohio State is Banks deep and Shuttlesworth close at the 4-yard line is Dennis Franklin. He hands off to Banks, and Banks is down to the 3-2, and he gets to the 1.5-yard line. And remember, a field goal here is just as good as a touchdown in that Michigan, if they tie, can go to Pasadena, can win the outright Big Ten championship. But right now, Michigan is thinking of nothing but scoring because they have the ball now. Third down and 1. Third down and 1 at the Ohio State 1-yard line, and Michigan trails by 3. Banks deep and Shuttlesworth close from the 1-yard line, and Dennis Franklin under center at quarterback. He hands off to Banks, and it's a touchdown, Michigan. They win it. Aren't they going to raise their hands? He was into the end zone. It's on over. It's just like 1954. I can see Dave Hill of Ypsilanti taking the handoff from Lou Boudreaux at the same end of the field, and he went into that end zone, and they're claiming he didn't then, and he didn't now 18 years later. God darn it, what do you got to do down here to score a touchdown? It's like a pane of glass. All you have to do is be on, over, or above that line. And Banks was in over that line, and doggone it, they're so intimidated by Woody Hayes. Every official looked at each other. Nobody had the guts. Now you watch. If we get near it, they'll call it this time. That's the way they do it. It's Banks deep on 4th down. Dennis Franklin under center. Dennis Franklin, quarterback sneaks. And by golly, they aren't calling it yet. There they're calling it. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, that's the rottenest deal I've ever seen in football. I cannot believe that they wouldn't give him a touchdown. Twice they're in over that last white line. I want to see the movies on that. I know we're supposed to be impartial. But doggone it, all you got to be is on, over, or above. And in 1954, the movie showed that Dave Hill had gone by Lou Boudreaux, who was at the 6-inch line as a quarterback, and he moved by Boudreaux, and he was over the line. They pushed him back. That day, it was Hopalong Cassidy and Bobo who came back upfield 99 yards, and they went on to win the game 20-7. Ohio State, full house tee in the backfield. Greg Hare, the quarterback. Hands off to the fullback, and he's hit right there at the 1-yard line. There are 8 minutes and 47 seconds remaining. And I couldn't believe that those officials are so afraid of Ohio State fans and Woody Hayes' intimidations that they wouldn't give him a touchdown. 2 times men were on, over, or above the line. Ohio State in the full house tee in the backfield. The ends in tight in the balanced line. The quarterback is Greg Hare, and he hands off to the fullback, who gets out to the 4. But wait a minute. There is a flag on the play, and Michigan was offside. That'll give the Buckeyes 5 big yards. And the Buckeyes now with 8 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, leading in the ball game 14-11. The rain continues to fall here. It's hard to believe that those officials are so intimidated. I hate to hear Bo Schembechler if this ball game ends 14-11. The quarterback is Greg Hare. He takes the snap from center, and he hands to his fullback, and he doesn't get enough yards to bury himself in on that one. It'll now be 3rd down and about 2. 3rd down and 2, and they're unpiling right at the 8-yard line. It's 3rd down and 2, Mr. Hayes. What are you going to call now? Well, he's calling it. Here comes number 85 in for Ohio State. They don't even have him listed. And the full house tee in the backfield, Galbraith, Keith, and Griffith. Hare hands off to the fullback, and he doesn't make it. He's hit right there at the 8-yard line, and Ohio will be forced to punt. The fickle finger of fate sometimes dangles very mysteriously. Ohio doesn't pick up the first down. And Michigan now will get a chance to come back upfield. Doggone it, the Wolverines have worked for 93 years, and they've scored hundreds and hundreds of points. But they'll never forget the 12 points they were robbed of here in 72 by the $200 an hour men. There's Lago, the leading punter in the Big Ten from the end zone. There it is. It's a low kick, and it's taken down there by Brown, and he cuts back in at the 36-yard line. So Michigan with excellent field position at the 36-yard line. So check in Michigan. A 31-yard kick by Gary Lago. A 6-yard return by Dave Brown. And the Wolverines with plenty of time left, 6 minutes and 37 seconds. They trail in the ball game 14-11 as Dennis Franklin and Bo Schembechler talk things over, and Michigan is all set now. Going out along that sideline will be Dennis Franklin. Michigan wide to the left is Bo Rather. At the slot is Hazelrig. It's Heater deep and Shuttlesworth close. Shuttlesworth takes the ball and he's hit over the 35 to the 32-yard line. Easy edge Shuttlesworth to the 33-yard line. Easy Ed down to the 33-yard line. He picked up on the play about 4.5 yards. It'll be second down now and just about 6. Second and 6. 6 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the ball game. Ohio State 14, Michigan 11. Wide to the left is Bo Rather. Cheater deep and Shuttlesworth close. The quarterback is Dennis Franklin. He rolls out a draw play. Doser, he's hit back there for a loss, but he breaks the tackle. And he's still thrown for a loss at the 38-yard line. Pete Krusik. He faked the draw, and Heater kept it, tried to throw the pass, couldn't find a man open. Here's a key third down situation. 3rd and 6, a sophomore from Massillon, Ohio, will never have a bigger one. Check, it's 3rd and 11. 3rd and 11 from the Ohio State 37-yard line. On a balanced line. Heater deep, they're blocking. Heater and Shuttlesworth will block now for Franklin. Franklin's back, he gets the block. He throws way over the head of Bo Rather. Bo Rather was open, he beat the man, but it was way over his head. And it brings up 4th down and 11. 4th down and 11 with 5 minutes and 14 seconds remaining on the clock. As Michigan, frustrated here this afternoon in the last few seconds of the first half. Again here midway through the 4th quarter. I can't believe those officials not calling a touchdown. On both plays with Banks and Dennis Franklin, they all four looked at each other and nobody had the guts. And I'll remember 18 years ago in 54, they did the same thing to Michigan down here. Up wide to the right is Bo Rather. It's 4th down and 11 as Michigan's going for broke. There's the pass out there, and it's thunderstorm. It's thunderstorm. Ohio takes over. 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. As Michigan couldn't capitalize on Ohio State pass that was intercepted, and the Buckeyes take over. Pete Krusik forced Dennis Franklin to throw in a hurry. He couldn't get set, and he threw short. A real tough break for the Maize and Blue. Michigan and Ohio State will never be forgotten by 82,000 Ohio State fans and millions of Michigan fans around the country, because I sure want to see the movies on those 2 goal line thrusts by Michigan, by Banks and by Franklin. Ohio State has taken time out down in the playing field. The Wolverines under Bo Schembechler, regardless of what they do out here this afternoon, have had a tremendous year. They've had a tremendous 4 years. But they'd like this one out here this afternoon. At the I formation, Griffiths deep and Keith close. They pitch off to Griffith. He slips and falls at the 35-yard line. There are still 5 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the ball game. It'll be second down now. Second down and 11 as Ohio taking plenty of time here as they want to eat up as much of the clock as they possibly can and then put in the number 1 punter in the Big Ten to see him boom that ball down the field. Is Hazel. At the slot is Galebus. It's a lookout pass. It's a swing pass, and it's caught down there. And Griffith breaks the tackle at the 40. He's hit at the midfield stripe, and the crowd roars as Griffith brings the ball to the Michigan 48-yard line. Ohio State 14, Michigan 11. The Buckeyes with 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining have the ball first and 10 on the Michigan 48-yard line. We've called a lot of football games in 28 years, 268 to be exact. I don't mind it when a team beats Michigan, when they really beat them, but I'll always question this one. It's not over yet. Griffin deep, Keith close. There's a handoff to Griffin. He breaks the tackle again. Boy, he's a man mountain right now. He's full of emotion. The adrenaline is flowing, and one Mr. Archie Griffin, the freshman. He has 697 yards coming into this, his 10th game of 1972, and he's only a freshman. Well, the clock shows 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining. Ohio State taking plenty of time. Michigan's defensive line digging in. Spearman, Gallagher, Sexton, Grambo, and Williamson. Ohio State center Steve Myers is over the ball. It's Griffin deep. Keith close in the I formation. The quarterback is here. He hands off to Keith. He's hit right there and dropped. Right in his tracks at the 47-yard line. Michigan still letting the clock go because they have their timeouts. They have 2 of them left. They used 1 to get that 2-point extra point set up after their touchdown. The only game he's ever lost in the Michigan Stadium. Griffin deep. A fake by Hare. He pitches off to the halfback. And he's ridden out of bounds to stop the clock at the 44-yard line. And now what are they going to call? Now what are they calling? A flag against Michigan. They're going to call Michigan for tackling him out of bounds in front of the Ohio bench. Bo Schembecker ought to write to President Nixon about this. This is the greatest deal since the Mexicans took the Alamo. I can't believe it. I don't know whether these guys are being paid by the Big Ten or whether they're being paid by Ohio State. How do you like that? A horse collar tackle. They happen. It's routine football. A horse collar tackle in front of the Ohio State bench, and I'll bet Woody said, look at him. He's grabbing my boy. He's hurting my boy. 2 minutes and 49 seconds remaining. The quarterback, Greg Hare, hands off to the fullback, and he's hit right there, and the fullback is Harold Henson. Henson coming in to clean up on the spoils after the ball game is practically over. Bo Schembecker lost a heartbreaker out in Southern California to the Trojans in the first Rose Bowl, 10-3. Another heartbreaker last year in the Rose Bowl to Stanford, 13-12. But this one has to go down as the biggest heartbreak in the history of Michigan football. 93 years of football, and the biggest heartbreak of them all, where the end's in tight. And they're all split about a yard on a balanced line. The handoff fake to the fullback, and it's handed to the halfback, and he loses yardage. And they don't knock him out of bounds. It's Galebus, very poised co-captain, keeps the ball in bounds to let the clock continue to go with 2 minutes remaining. It'll now be 3rd down and 12 with 1 minute and 55 seconds remaining. 1 minute and 55 seconds remaining. With 1 minute and 37 seconds, and first, 3rd and 12 on the Michigan 30. There's a handoff, and Michigan will call timeout now, probably using up one of their timeouts. No, sir. Now Bo's indicating call timeout. There it is. Okay. Now we have 4th down, 12 yards to go. Ohio State, if they punt in the end zone, they're trying for a field goal. Actually, a field goal would give them, well, a 6-point lead, which would make it 17-11. Then Michigan would have to score a touchdown and kick an extra point to win. Kicking will be Blair Conway. He's a right-footed kicker. It's spotted, it's snapped, it's end over end, and it is no good, off to the left. So Michigan, with 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining, have to move the ball 80 yards in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Well, it's been done before, and Michigan has one timeout left. They used one on the two-point extra point. They used one just before this field goal. Wide to the right is Bo Rather. They'll go into a true pro set. No, it's the I formation. It's heater deep. He's blocking. And there it is. It's down there for Bo Rather. And it's almost intercepted. Almost intercepted by Doug Plank. The pass was intended for Bo Rather at the 46-yard line. Doug Plank went high into the air and almost intercepted. And you know, isn't this reminiscent of the Oklahoma-Nebraska game when Oklahoma came from behind, though, to win that one after trailing 14-0, 17-14. And if those officials check that movie, they'll find out Michigan won this ball game 18-14. I'll say that as long as I live. Heater deep and Shuttlesworth close. Banks is deep. Heater's out of there. He was hurt. He's playing on guts here in the second half. There it is, the long bomb, and it's down there, and it's shot by Hazelrig. He couldn't hold it. Shot by Hazelrig at the 40, and he couldn't hold it with 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining. Clint Hazelrig had the ball, but so did Jeff Davis, was right there to make the knockdown. A great defensive play by Jeff Davis. Jefferson Davis. Well, he might have lost the Civil War, but he's sure winning this one out here this afternoon. 14-11, the Buckeyes lead. Bo Rather, wide to the left is Hazelrig. True pro set with Heater and Shuttlesworth blocking for Franklin at the 12. He throws downfield to Bo Rather, who goes out of bounds at the 30. Oh, are they going to put it inside? They are. They're putting it inside the 30, so it won't be a first down. Oh, and Rather caught it at the 31. But they're going to make Michigan on 4th down. Oh, I can't believe the officiating out here this afternoon. Absolutely, I can't believe it. He caught it to the 31-yard line. He went out of bounds at the 30, and they know the series started on the 20. And now Michigan has got to waste at least 20 seconds with a running play. And they have no timeouts. They have no timeout left. Wide to the right is Bo Rather. Dennis Franklin now sets the team, and Shuttlesworth has a first down. And Michigan calls, there's an automatic timeout on that. Now Michigan calls timeout. 57 seconds remaining, and Michigan calls timeout. Well, I don't know. 268 ball games, and we have to end up like this. A great season. 10 wins, no losses, no ties. Once at the goal line to end the first half, that was legitimate. Michigan just didn't make it. But I'll never believe that either Banks or Dennis Franklin weren't over the goal line on that middle of the fourth quarter drive that ended up on the Buckeye 6-inch line. Dick, what's your opinion? I've been doing all the talking here.
Bob, I'll have to agree. Banks on the third down play hit into the center of the line. It's hard to tell from here on my angle, but my guess is that his penetration was good. As you say, all you have to do is to penetrate that imaginary plane above the goal line. He then rolled off and actually went into the end zone, but the official said no, they'd blown the whistle.
All these officials are telling every coach in the Big Ten, get like Woody Hayes and you'll intimidate us and we'll give in to you. 57 seconds, 1st and 10. Banks deep, Shuttlesworth close. A rollout pass. There it is, and it's a long one down to Hazelrig, and it is knocked down at the 32-yard line. 51 seconds remaining, 3 plays left for Michigan. A dying gasp for the Maize and Blue as they trail 14-11. A real tough ball game for the Maize and Blue. They've never lost a tougher game in their lives. I don't know how Woody Hayes will be all smiles and just, 31-yard line, no rest. Well, we got to give a big vote of confidence from Mr. Hayes to the referee Ross Dean to Victor Volkovitz, William Filson, Robert Fallon, Otto Polk, and Donald Hacks. One of the worst jobs we've ever seen officiating in our 33 years of watching Michigan. There it is, and it's caught by Bo Rather. He goes out of bounds for a first down at the 45-yard line. With 46 seconds remaining, Michigan keeps alive. As the Wolverines have it on the 45-yard line now of Michigan. And there are 46 seconds remaining, but they have a 1st and 10. And this Statistically, it's all Michigan, but that doesn't mean a thing. The wide side is Bo Rather. Thornblade in there and blocking, and Heater blocking, and Franklin throws, and it's caught by Bo Rather at the 42, and he goes out of bounds at Ohio State's 42-yard line. First down, Michigan, with 40 seconds remaining, and the Wolverines aren't dead yet. If this young sophomore from Massillon, Ohio can do this, this will have to be one of the greatest finishes since Notre Dame spotted Ohio State here on this gridiron in 1935. 18 points in the first 3 quarters, and the Fighting Irish came back, and would you believe they scored 20 points in the last 15 minutes? I remembered I was just a little kid over in Pittsburgh. Shakespeare to Pilney with 9 seconds remaining, and Ohio State was beaten 19-18. Bo Rather wide to the left. Clint Hesselrig wide to the right. Franklin back. He's throwing downfield, and it is almost caught and dropped. Incomplete at the 3-yard line. With 34 seconds remaining, Dick?
I might say, Bob, that Dennis Franklin is throwing very, very well. The deep receivers have been covered, generally 2 men. That time they had 1 man on Rather. Actually, when they've gone for the 15-yarder down and out, they've had it. Now, I thought that was a good call. I figured that Woody would have his men coming up, covering them tighter on the sidelines to try to keep them out of field goal range, and that might be the time to try and get the long one.
Well, now covered. It's banked deep. Franklin is up. Franklin's going to run the ball, and he stopped. They have 26 seconds. Michigan is going to line up here. There are 21 seconds. Who stops the clock with 13 seconds. Dennis Franklin drops back, stops the clock with 13 seconds. They're tearing down the goalpost at one end. That's good sportsmanship. They haven't even won yet. Now what are they going to do if they want to throw a long bomb? Boy, these Ohio State fans are real good sports. Those officials, now what are you going to do, $200 an hour men? You've created this monster, now you live with it. 13 seconds remaining in the ball game. The Ohio State fans are being taken off the field by the state troopers here at Ohio State. Now they're working at the other end. They won't even allow Michigan to kick the extra point.
Field goal, Bob. That's the big thing.
That's right. Field goal. And if they tear them down, they ought to forfeit the game. If they tear them down, they ought to forfeit the game. Woody Hayes is down there talking to them. Well, Woody, you better get that big frame of yours up here at the other end because they're going to tear that one down. And then I dare those officials to forfeit the game. It would serve them right. There are 13 seconds remaining in a ball game that no one will ever forget. No one will ever forget the infamy here. Well, Pearl Harbor was one thing. I guess you don't take it that serious, but doggone it, sometimes you do. Timeout down in the playing field. Michigan has the ball. 4th down, 10 yards to go. Time for one play. And listen to the crowd here. Well, it's a great big Ohio afternoon when you cut it all out. And when it's all over with and our forefathers talk about it, it'll be a 14-11 win for Ohio State. Unless Michigan can do something here with 13 seconds. A drop back pass by Dennis Franklin. He's going to run with the ball. He's tackled and the ball game is over. There isn't any more. The ball game is all over. There are 6 seconds remaining. And I don't know whether the officials will allow them to come on the field. Boy, this is a real display for you. 6 seconds on the clock. They aren't even going to play the clock out, I don't think. We're going to hang with you, though. And I'll tell you, no one will ever forget the infamous football game at Ohio State Stadium on November 25th of 1972. Ohio State is the winner statistically by a 14-11 score. But I'll never believe they were the better team, and I'll never believe that they didn't have 15 men out there all afternoon. Actually, they have 6 officials now. They had 17 men all out here all afternoon. Might as well give them all the credit they deserve. how soon these officials will get another job officiating. Boy, oh boy. 6 seconds remaining. From the snake pit, we said in our opening remarks of the broadcast, and it's a real snake pit down here. You've got to beat the officials as well as the Buckeyes. Well, you got to give Ohio State credit. They did get 14 points. They did show a great freshman halfback in Griffin, but that's the only thing they showed because they have no other statistics. And there it is. Ohio's a four-letter word. Well, I don't know whether Ohio will be allowed to. Here they come, breaking out of the huddle. I've never seen a finish. We've been around 33 years, broadcasting for 28. I've never seen a finish like this. Hare goes back, lays on the ball.
Yards to go. A second time, first down and 5 yards to go. But I'll give credit to Bo Schembechler, Bob. Bo Schembechler could have kicked a field goal down there on the 12-inch line. That would have sent him to the Rose Bowl. That would have won it. But unlike Ira Parsegian, he went for the 7. We thought he had it twice. Even more distressing to me was the call on Tommy Key down here on the near sidelines, and this was right in front of us. And that 15-yard penalty gave Ohio State a first down under conditions where Michigan would have had the ball with 2 more minutes to go. I guess I'm a little excited too, Bob, but I think I have to pay tribute to Bo and the Wolverines. They played ball, and they played it well down here today.
Well, thank you, Dick. You know, football fans, despite Michigan's loss to Ohio State here this afternoon, this Michigan football team of 1972 has to have been a team of destiny. From obscurity, no names in early September, to a tie for the Big Ten football championship in late November. Yes, sir, the Maize and Blue Legions of Coach Bo Schembechler have now won 3 out of 4 Big Ten.